Welcome everyone. This is my 1997 Chevrolet S-10. The footage you are seeing was taken the day I purchased this truck back in January of 2020. At the time of the purchase, I was inspired by a few YouTube videos I saw where people had completely repainted their vehicles with rattle can spray paint. And as you can see, this truck wasn't easy on the eyes. However, it is a very solid truck with only a few small rust spots, and I only paid $600 for it, so I thought it was a perfect candidate for a cheap amateur paint job and some backyard bodywork. Despite the appearance of the truck, it really didn't have any mechanical issues at all. The 2.2-liter four-cylinder motor was idling fine, the transmission shifted well, and the brakes worked great. I had no problem driving at 50 miles home from the purchase location. Before addressing this truck's cosmetic issues, I disassembled the front clip so I could have better access to the most common rust-prone areas. That way I can remove rust and prevent any future corrosion. I will also install a simple lowering kit while I'm focusing on the undercarriage. After some time with an angle grinder and an abrasive wire wheel, I had removed the rust that was on the frame. Then I painted it black and installed my new 2-inch lowering spindle. With the new spindle on and the front brakes reassembled, I moved to the passenger side to repeat this process. Once that was done, I removed the bed. That way I could clean up the rear of the frame. It took a few days to successfully remove all the rust. It wasn't fun, but this frame will be free of rust for a long time, and I won't have to worry about debris falling on me anytime I have to do any work underneath the truck. Once the paint had dried, I installed 3-inch lowering blocks to the rear axle. These blocks, combined with the 2-inch lowering spindles, will give the truck a nice, moderately lowered stance. Then I painted up the rest of the frame rails that run underneath the cab. Now the entire frame is nice and clean. So now that the frame is clean and the lowering kit is installed, I can move on to giving this truck a proper paint job. Or at least painting the truck one solid color. Before I painted the truck, I wanted to improve the interior. So I got rid of the old stained carpet and goofy cup holder thing that was attached to the floor. And during the installation process of the new carpet, I replaced the loose stock shifter with a brand new short throw shifter. I also found a nice driver's side seat to replace the ripped up one. I think it came together nicely, however, I am still looking for a decent center console. The new shifter has been a really great upgrade. It has reduced the distance and time it takes to shift gears, which has led to better acceleration and a more responsive driving experience. If you drive a manual transmission car or truck, I highly recommend buying one. So, with that out of the way, I assembled my makeshift paint booth. Then I got to sanding off the original paint and masking off the windows and door handles. Once that was done, I applied a few coats of primer to the cab, then a base coat of the color I chose. After each base coat dried, I would do some wet sanding to remove most of the imperfections. Once I finally had the color done, I gave the cab a few coats of clear coat spray paint. In between clear coats, I would wet sand until it was nice and smooth. While I finished up the cab, I repeated the same process for the hood, bumper, and fenders. After letting the cab and front end parts thoroughly dry, I assembled the front clip. Instead of having to visualize, I can finally see the truck come together. So far, I am happy with the results. With the truck halfway painted, I can confidently say that the cheap canopy tarp combo has been a success. After I brought the bed into the paint booth, I painted the underside to prevent rust, and fixed the small rust spot on the wheel well. Then I painted the bed using the same methods I used for the other body panels. Once the bed was dry, I placed it back on the frame, installed the taillights and roll pan as well as the plastic bed liner. So, after a few months of work, the truck is lowered, the frame is clean, the interior has new carpet, and it's finally reassembled with a decent paint job. You may have noticed that this entire time, all of the work has been done outside. And yes, I successfully repainted this truck in an outside canopy made out of duct tape, tarps, and zip ties. I worked on this project in my spare time, on weekends, and whenever the weather was nice enough to do some outdoor painting. This situation really prolonged the process and made it very difficult to complete. I have been doing repairs and maintenance outside for years at this point, so it wasn't unfamiliar to me. However, I'd be lying if I said this wasn't getting old. Anyone who's maintained their vehicles in their driveway with no shelter or protection from the elements can relate to the struggles and frustrations of having no garage. So, thankfully, after working full-time and saving for years, I could finally afford a few truckloads of gravel, a slab of concrete, along with a garage of my very own. Now that the garage is complete, I no longer have to wrestle with makeshift outdoor workspaces, storing my tools inside the house, dragging extension cords all over the place, and using unstable surfaces when I needed to jack up a truck. This garage has been a great addition to the property. I now have a proper place for tools, vehicle storage, and working out of the elements. I also have lots of lights for nighttime repairs. It's been a huge improvement that I'm very thankful for. I also added a layer of insulation to help with temperature fluctuation. And in the near future, I will have a wood burner installed to make it more comfortable in the colder months. This garage will make it easier to repair and maintain my trucks, and I'll be better equipped to document the process. With that being said, there will be more movies in the near future. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think.